Good afternoon and welcome. Russ Lambert again today with another thought, an idea, or will today be more like an observation, followed up by a question or two. I'm talking about Chief Justice John Roberts of the United States Supreme Court and a kind of theory that has been floating around about him. Chief Justice John Roberts was appointed to be Chief Justice of the Supreme Court by President George W. Bush in 2005. Justice Roberts had established himself as a believer in interpreting the Constitution as written rather than legislating from the bench. In his confirmation hearings, he just thrilled conservatives when he used an analogy, a baseball analogy, comparing himself to an umpire in a baseball game. He said, quote, "It is my job to call balls and strikes, not to pitch or bat." As conservatives, that was exactly what we wanted to hear. For his first dozen years on the court, he lived up to that standard. Conservative leaning, to be sure, but we knew that going in. But he also sat on the court without a kind of a in-your-face kind of personality. But in recent years, many of us have been kind of surprised to see him leaning more and more to the left toward the liberal wing of the court. For example, just earlier this year, I believe it was in June, he cast the deciding vote. He was the fifth vote in a 5-4 decision that resulted in having LGBT rights wedged into being included in the Civil Rights Act of 1964. I remember President Lyndon B Johnson. He signed that bill. He was the president that signed it into law. But if he had foreseen that this was going to happen, I bet you he never would have done it. And I'll bet you right now, he's still spinning in his grave. I heard one train of thought going around, and for the love of everything holy, I hope it's not accurate. Quote, I actually think much of what is driving it is, I think John despises Donald Trump. I think it's personal. That's from Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, as he was quoted to CBN. A reporter or a representative from ouramericanvalues.org, a man named Gary Bauer, was quoted saying he hopes that Senator Cruz is wrong. But he also says it's as good an explanation as any other to explain the drift of Justice Roberts. Now, I think it'd be a terrible comment about the Chief Justice if he was making decisions based on a personal dislike of President Trump. But I know people right now who are planning to go out and vote against America. Not because they hate America, but because their hatred of Donald Trump is stronger than their love for America. I don't know about his voting, but I hope that's not a part of playing into what the Chief Justice is thinking. Truthfully, I think it's just sad. Now, I'm not an expert. I watch the Supreme Court as a hobby. I think it's interesting. When I give thought to who's the brightest and best in our society, I don't look to Hollywood. I don't look to pro athletes. I look at the Supreme Court. These are the people that make the most important decisions of anybody on the planet. And they usually get it right. Not always, but usually. It would make me sick to think that one of the people that I hold up on a pedestal like I do the justices of the court, it'd make me sick to think one of them was that weak. So my question, do you think Senator Cruz is right? Has Justice Roberts let his personal dislike for President Trump be an influence in the performance of his duties? If you're like me, you hope not. But you'll probably have to admit there's room for the question. Let me know what you think. Just down in the comments below, just drop your thoughts if you would. And in the meantime, be good to one another, and God bless you.